Guys, Mustang here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so following on from yesterday's top 10 TUR EZAs on Global, we are going to go ahead and do the top 10 Dokkan Fest exclusive TURs on Global. Now, of course, you know, he's going to be in the thumbnail. The last time I made a TUR tier list, I did talk about the fact that I was going to include Limit Breaker Vegito, Super Saiyan 3 Rosé, because I feel like they fit under that sort of category. Limit Breaker Vegito definitely does, right? Like, he has his own Dokkan event. He needs 77 medals to awaken. I mean, I guess you can make the arguments for units like Tapion being a banner unit that got his own Dokkan Fest and everything. But even so, with the ridiculous power that Vegito has, it seems weird to leave him off of the tier list where he would be obviously very high, just because he's not technically a Dokkan Fest. But considering how he stacks up to all the other Dokkan Fest exclusives, I think it's worth keeping him on the list. I put him on the list last time, so I'm not just going to change that sort of standard and take him off this time. So we are going to go through the top 10 EZA, or the top 10 Dokkan Fest exclusive TURs on Global. Now again, like the EZA list yesterday, this is based on my personal experience. It's all my opinion. If you don't agree, let me know down below in the comments why you disagree. Shout out to that one guy that just keeps putting the same comment on all the videos saying that Kefla is not the #1 EZA, but never giving any actual arguments why or who is better than her. So be better than that guy. If you disagree, let me know why. I'm always happy to have discussions with people, but you know, give me something to work with, right? And so not only is this based on my experience and it's just my opinion, but again, to clarify, this is based on Global as of right now. So I can tell you straight away, there are units on this list that will be much higher up the list once some other things come out in the future, whether that's content from the anniversary, EZAs from the anniversary, anything like that, right? There are units on this list that will definitely move up the list, but we're not looking at future potential. We are looking at where do they rank on Global in the meta that we have on Global right now. So we are starting off at number 10, and just like the EZA one, I found it difficult to pick who would be at number 10, so we have a couple of different options here, and any one of these guys could be number 10 and the other two drop off the bottom. Maybe you would want them at 9 or maybe even higher. Let me know what you think down below. But the couple of honorable mentions is the physical path to power Kid Goku. I think this guy can still be very good. I gave mine a full dodge build. You usually run him as a 3rd slot floating unit. You get the 7 orbs to him. He gives everybody a bit of damage reduction, and he can be pretty good. We've done like meme runs on the challenge streams and stuff where we've done like DB Saga versus Zamasu and stuff like that. And you know, he can still be kind of good. His main drawback, of course, is that even with the 7 orbs, he's not really taking supers from any of these big bosses. But as it currently stands on Global, I mentioned this in the EZA list video for a couple of people, being a physical unit definitely helps him out a little bit in a couple of these fights as well. So Kid Goku, I think, has an argument to still be at number 10. And then we have AGL Kale. Now, this is one that I think is interesting because I made a tweet about this earlier today. A lot of people have seen these crazy EZAs, right? Kefla, the really good sub EZAs for Kale, Caulifla, Vados, hits all right. And think like, oh, you know, Kale's team is saved now. Kale is like a top 5 TUR in the game. And I've seen a lot of people, as I said in the tweet, using the private server to use Kale's team with all the EZAs in the anniversary content. And that team can do very, very well there because most of those events are not doing AoEs. And if they are, I think it's just the Gogeta one. It's not on turn 1 and you have a chance to set up. Kale, of course, is AGL, and I think that Gogeta with the AoEs is STR, so she has type advantage over him. Whereas, unfortunately, as we discovered on the stream earlier today, when I was trying to get some bits recorded for other videos, on the current meta we have on Global, the 2 toughest fights in the game are Fusion Zamasu with his turn 1 AoEs, which Kale is not good against, and then Omega, who disables dodge in the first phase and is tech. So depending on the rotation that you get in either of those fights, if you get a bad first rotation, you just get killed immediately. Because on Kale's team, even with these easy A's, units like Tech Caulifla, who can become the untouchable slot 1 unit, can't dodge against Omega. And if you get a rotation where you have like STR Kale, but you don't have a Caulifla, then she can't tank hits from Omega or Zamasu, well, at all. Kale can't take AoEs. She's just not good in the meta on Global currently. So unironically, she will go up this list multiple places, I think, once the anniversary content comes out. We'll also get the Universe 6, the 50% supports, get their easy A's when those all come out. But as it stands right now, KO is a lot lower than I thought she might have been after all the recent discussion, after having to gotten to use her in a bunch of events earlier today. So I think she could still be an argument to be on the list, but I don't know if I would put her much higher than 10. And then the other one is the Tournament of Power androids. These guys, again, are in a similar position. They can be better against Omega because he doesn't do AoEs in the first turn and they have type advantage. So they get their super off, they get their damage reduction. They can tank against Omega pretty well. And then in the final stage, like, he does AoEs, which they're not good against. And Zamasu does AoEs that they're not good against. So the current meta on Global is not great for them. And of course, all the things that are going to make their team giga busted are all the anniversary easy A's and the STR UI Goku, which is like the countdown to the anniversary. So once the anniversary stuff is all out, these guys probably go way higher on the list because you could run their team with 2 of them for all the support and then run those crazy busted LR easy A's from the Universe 7 team. And then, you know, that team's going to cook. But as it stands on Global right now, not very good. So these guys are the 3 that I have as contention for number 10, or at least honorable mentions. Let me know what you think down below. At number 9, we have Yamcha. I was considering putting him in the 10 contention spot and maybe one of them in number 9. But again, thinking about the current Global meta, Yamcha can still be pretty useful with the dodging against Fusion Zamasu. Earthbred Fighters is obviously a very, very good team because Earthbred Fighters plus Turtle School, bunch of Gokus that are really good, right? He can dodge against Zamasu, and then against Omega, he can't dodge in the first phase, but he has type advantage. So once he's gotten some supers off, you wouldn't put him in slot 1 against Omega, the first phase, but once he's gotten his supers off and everything, he's not going to get absolutely destroyed. And then after that, he regains the ability to dodge. So based on, again, the Global meta, I feel like this guy is in a better position than the 3 other units who... Did they all come out after him? No, Goku came out before. Okay. Kid Goku came out before. At least on Global by 1 month. And actually, yeah, JP by 1 month as well. So, yeah, this guy better than them as it stands on Global. Once the meta comes out, once the meta shifts... not so much, right? He might not even be in the top 10. But as it stands now, I can see him being number 9. So then at number 8, we have Gamma 1. A lot of people did not like Gamma 1's placement on the last list of how low he is. But again, I think at the moment, realistically, where are you running him outside of the Androids team with 21? Potentially on Superheroes. Superheroes, while still being a very, very good team, it doesn't necessarily need Gamma 1, and then once it gets all its buffs for the anniversary, it becomes a lot more interesting, right? Because Superheroes becomes an absolute insane team with the LR Gammas, which this guy obviously works super well with. Beast Gohan making that team super cracked since he's like the best unit in the game. But as it stands currently on Global, I don't know if I would put this guy higher than some of the units that are above him on the list. He does have the fairly decent defense straight away, but his biggest issue with the Global meta is when it came to things like Zamasu. If you put him in slot 1, which is ideally where you want him in the early turns, he'll take a lot of damage from a big super from Zamasu. And then when it comes to Omega, you want to put him in slot 1 and get some build up and all that. And Omega, unfortunately, has this habit of supering in slot 1 and stunning you, which then means you are unable to get any attacks off. You're able to take hits, which is fine, so you can get some good build-up. He does have the ability to nullify unarmed super attacks, which is useful against the physical Zamasu. But yeah, I mean, this guy, I could see the argument for him being a place or 2 higher, but I think he's going to move up the list when the anniversary content comes out, for sure. But as it stands on Global right now, I mean, he's still at number 8 in the top 10 like TURs, right? Non-EZA. I think that's pretty good, but I don't know. I could be persuaded to put him higher. And the next one, of course, that I think people will always judge wherever I put the heroes units, but we have Super Saiyan 3 Rosé. I was thinking about whether I would have switched these two around, right? And when you think about what they do, Super Saiyan 3 Rosé is not as good in slot 1 because he needs to attack first. But once he attacks, even on the first turn, I feel like he tanks a lot better than Gamma 1. He can do more damage earlier on, and then once he transforms, he does more damage. I think their damage is similar early on, depending on who you have linked up with Gamma 1. He definitely can hit high attack stats with the right partners and everything. And then once Rosé transforms, if you've gotten some decent supers in base, he can definitely hit harder than Gamma 1. And then post super in his full power Rosé form, he's tanking basically every super on global, which is very, very good. So I mean, these two are kind of close. If you want Gamma 1 over Rosé for like legitimate reasons, then that's fine. I know some people will always downplay the heroes units, even the two that are really good, which is this guy and Vegito. And this guy, remember, when I talk about units that are going to move up the list when the anniversary content comes out, you better believe I wanted to put this guy higher on the list, but as per my own rules, only based on the meta on global right now. But once the anniversary content starts coming out and we get all these fights where you fight against a Goku and a Super Saiyan Blue enemy, this guy's stocks go way up because he can get all of those additional supers, and then he can start looking pretty crazy. And of course, he is on the new physical Rosé's 200% leader skill for global. So I just like, this guy's just been, his stocks just keep going up, which I really enjoy because I love this unit. I am biased towards Rosé. I love Super Saiyan 3. I think this unit's super cool, but I think like I have legitimate reasons why he's on the list at this point, right? And he's only going to get better in the future. So if you want to argue that he is a place or two lower now, maybe that's fine, right? Depending on your reasons, let me know in the comments. But he's definitely going to be going up the list when the anniversary content comes out. So currently, he is at number 7. Number 6, we have 21. I think I talked about in the last list whether I would put Rosé above 21. But 21, I think, is a little bit more reliable in certain situations. She's not good against AoEs, which realistically neither is he, but neither are a few of the units on this list. But she does a lot of supers. Once you've transformed, not only do you get all this healing, but as soon as she's super attacked, gotten a bunch of supers off, she can tank any super attack in the game for like double-digit damage, basically. So she's very, very good defensively. Her team is really good, and I think gets super overlooked. But it is, again, the fact that she's not good against AoEs, which really hurts her against Fusion Zamasu. She is really good against Omega, because you can get through the first phase with her team fairly reasonably. The second phase, she's got type advantage, and then the last phase, you start using like the active skills from her for the action break. You've got Evil 21, that's type advantage over Omega, the LR androids, all that kind of stuff. But she's very, very good. I think she was underrated a decent amount on release, but you have to remember that since the end of 2023, there hasn't really been much of a shift in the meta on global. We haven't gotten new, tougher events, and we've gotten 2 new Dokkan Fest exclusives, the androids and then Trunks, both of which did not really receive the greatest like reception, whereas I think Android 21 is better than both of those. Like Super Trunks on his best turn once he's transformed is probably better than Android 21, but it's the fact you have to put up with Tech Trunks untransformed. And I feel like Android 21 untransformed is potentially better. I guess they both suffer against AoEs. It's hard to say which one I think would be better. I'm just not personally a huge fan of Trunks. Let me know where you would put him on this list if he made your top 10. But we have Android 21 at number 6. Now, at number 5, we have Piccolo Jr. So this is where the top 5 of the list has kind of changed around a little bit for me. And I really had to think when I was putting this list together who I would put where and why. Because as I say, the meta hasn't really changed on global. But it's hard not to be like thinking about the anniversary content, but as I say, for this particular list, we're not taking that stuff into account. So I should say straight away, like number 4 is 23rd World Tournament Goku, and for the longest time people have had Piccolo above Goku, and I even had Piccolo above Goku on my last tier list. But when I made this one, I started to really think about, like, would I still put Piccolo above 23rd World Tournament Goku? And whilst the meta on Global hasn't shifted, the problem with this Piccolo is still that he is kind of homeless, unless you're running him on this Goku's team, or you can run him on Zamasu's team, where he's realistically only getting like big bad bosses, maybe obviously Fierce Battle, maybe Thirst for Conquest, and he's still very good. Like, he's still the #1 World Tournament unit. In the events that we have currently, he can still do very well. But like bosses like physical fusion Zamasu, especially on Zamasu's team, where like even Zamasu himself, LR Zamasu, AGL Zamasu, some of the time they're getting these additional attacks and they're doing 0 damage because of the barrier that Fusion Zamasu has. So this guy could be very much in danger of losing his full buffs by the time you get to physical Fusion Zamasu, and then he can just get absolutely destroyed by a super attack. Whereas when it comes to this guy, who I've now put at number 4, and trust me, like, I could easily switch them back, so let me know your thoughts on these two in the comments. But with this guy, with a lot of the units that we've had come out that he goes on teams with that can get the revive for him, I feel like he is a lot more, like, I would just get more use out of him. Like, I'm more likely to run a team where I'm going to put this guy on than I am to put like Piccolo Jr. on Zamasu's team. Or if I'm running this guy's team, maybe I'll put Piccolo Jr. on there, but then I'm only running him if I'm running this guy and I'm putting him on his team. So I found it really difficult to decide, honestly, where I think these two are in contention to each other now. And as we get more Reviver units, I mean, we're going to get Gohan and Piccolo come out within the next week or so, and they put this guy's stocks way up because they can revive pretty much straight away, and then this guy gets into his full god mode. Now, as I said, this video is for the global meta as we have now, so not factoring any anniversary content and stuff like that, but the literal next unit that's coming out on global is going to buff this guy. So let me know what you think. If you still think Piccolo is above Goku, I could definitely see it. Like I said, I could quite easily switch these guys back every other day. I really had to think about where I would put them on the list in relation to each other. You know, I don't like putting two units in the same spot, but I feel like you definitely could argue that either one of them would be 4 and then 5. Or higher if you want, obviously, but whichever one you would put over the other one. I feel like there are decent enough arguments at the moment for either of them. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. And now we get to the top 3. So here we go. Here he is, our boy, the global exclusive physical Rosé. I think he is number 3. I could maybe see him being number 2. And I guess it depends on what you think about number 1 and where you would put him on the list, whether you would put him there at all. But we have physical Rosé. I think he's super underrated. He's very overhated. He has a very weird design, which 100% his design could be better. I have issues with his design that I think could have been very easily fixed. He has flaws in his design that I genuinely don't understand why they gave him them. I don't know why they designed him exactly the way that he did. But on top of all of that, he's still good. Like, he's really fun to use, I think. It can be frustrating when you get the turns where you get like 1 rainbow orb and then he's not looking very good. But we've been experimenting with other team builds, using him on like LR Zamasu's team with Vados on the team, who's a really good support and orb changer. And yeah, we've just had some really fun turns with this guy where he drops like 2 supers. You get, say, when you get the 3 rainbow orbs, he drops 2 supers, does 3 additional normals, gets his guaranteed additional super from his passive, then does the additional super from the hidden potential, and that last super is getting up to like 20 million or something crazy. His domain is cool. You can use it on turn 4 regardless of which turn he started on. Buffs super bosses. We did a video, I think it will be out now already. I did a video using Kefla on super bosses because funnily enough she works really well on that team. I think the only downside is that he does really want big bad bosses partners for him to really look good, which his team does have a lot of, but his team can be a bit wonky. Like, his leader skill is the worst part about this unit. I think if his leader skill was better, I actually might put him at number 2, because one of the reasons why I put the unit above him is because one of the reasons is because his leader skill is just so much better, and he's such a versatile unit. But This guy, I think, is number 3. I could see arguments for him being 2. If you think he's lower because you don't like the RNG aspect of the unit and stuff, I could perfectly understand that. But he is very, very good. This is what we were talking about on the stream the other day, where, like, if you think he's not, like, let's say a top 10 TUR on Global, realistically, who is above him? Because when we look at the units that we've mentioned so far in this video, as I said recently, a lot of the big releases, even on JP, have been LRs. So there's not a lot of units. I think one of the only JP units I've seen people say they would put above this guy is like Dragon Fist Goku, but we don't have him on Global. So we have him at number 3 here for now. Let me know what you guys think. And then at number 2, probably gave it away talking about the leader skill, I guess. But at number 2, we have God Goku. For a long time, I've thought that God Goku is better than 23rd World Tournament Goku. And now I'm starting to think that I am just good. Well, I mean, I've put it on the list, right? That I've put him above Piccolo Jr. as well. Simply because his leader skill constantly is just getting better and better, and he is a unit that I just run all the time. This is one of those things, again, where it can come down to how people choose to personally rate units. But if I have a unit that is like, oh yeah, this unit's really, really good, they could be the best unit in the game, but I never run them because they're not on any of the teams I like to run, or they're not on any of the top tier teams in the game. That's why I would put this guy above like Piccolo Jr. Because this guy is on some of the best teams in the game. He can also lead some of the best teams in the game because of Pure Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans, and then Power of Wishes or Exploding Rage. Some of the best units on Global right now are on his leader skill, and some of the units that come out in the future as well. But again, we're not factoring those into this list. He has the dodge chance. He has guard if you get the orbs. Like, he's a unit that I feel like I can throw him onto any team that he's on, like in terms of the category, and I'll be happy to put him on the team. Whereas I wouldn't throw 23rd World Tournament Goku or Piccolo Jr. just on some random team because they fit under the leader skill, right? Whereas this guy fits onto those teams, links really well with those units. He can do very good damage, especially early on while his intro buff is still up. He does have the issue with getting the orbs, but even with 3 orbs, he has the dodge chance. He can still perform very, very well across all content. And as we mentioned already, like, being a physical unit gives him a bit of a bonus against some of these events as well. So I have him at number 2 for now. Like I say, his leader skill and just the versatility he has on a bunch of other teams, I think, puts him over Rosé. In terms of individual performance in a vacuum, like in terms of just what they're doing on their best turn, you could probably argue Rosé being above him. But taking into account some of these other factors, I would put this guy at number 2. And then we get to number 1, the most contentious one for some people, I'm sure. But I still have Limit Breaker Vegito at number 1, for all the reasons why he was at number 1 on the last list. Whilst I have talked about versatility of teams and leader skill and stuff being a factor in why I choose to put some units in some places, the performance of the unit is still very important. And the big thing that stands out to me about Limit Breaker Vegito, and I said this in the last video as well, the last tier list, is that none of these other units that we've mentioned so far, none of them are doing what Limit Breaker Vegito does on turn 1, on his best turn. Because even Rosé, you put him with his best link partner and you do get 5 orbs. He's doing a bunch of attacks. He can get up to doing like on turn 1 without like pre-transformed. He can get up to like what, 14 million, 15 million maybe, once he's done all the supers, if you get the rainbow orbs and all of that. Whereas Limit Breaker Vegito, to get his best turn 1, you just have to have him next to Physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. Even without another support unit in the rotation, he's then dropping like 13, 14, 15 million attack stat supers. Potentially they're all going to crit. He's got the damage reduction, so if he gets super attacked, he's tanking very, very well. He's just ridiculous. And in Global, where we still have very short content meta, he's just absolutely dominant. Now, when the anniversary content comes out, he will probably drop down the list a little bit, because I recently did like the Heroes versus Red Zone Golden Frieza, and even that was a little bit of a struggle. Like, it took a few attempts. And now that we've got the even harder stages that have come out from the anniversary after that, which can go on like more turns, once this guy's damage reduction starts to run out, he becomes a liability. And unfortunately, though on Global, the Heroes team can like blitz all the content, on JP, the rest of the team isn't strong enough to carry through, to get through those turns quickly. So Limit Breaker Vegito is kind of carrying the entire team on his back. and, you know, you get a couple of bad turns where you get bad RNG, he doesn't get a bunch of additionals, then you're going to get to that point in these events on JP where his damage reduction starts to run out. So he's definitely going to drop down the list. Like, if this was a JP tier list, I don't think he would be at number 1. But in terms of global, with what we have available now, he just absolutely destroys everything. Like, if you start with him on turn 1, the rotation of him and physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, if you have a support unit in slot 3, you can almost like one turn the Inzamasu or the Omega phases if you get enough like damage out, depending on, you know, depending on the rotation. It involves getting the additionals, getting crits, physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito potentially getting an additional as well. Depends who the unit in slot 3 is. But like, he's just so oppressively powerful straight out of the gate on turn 1 that in this meta that we still have on global with the shorter events, I feel like he is still number 1. Like, I mean, Goku, you could, if we're talking best turn for both of them, you have to be fair, right? So if we're talking best turn, we're still talking you can get the 6 orbs. But God Goku could still not dodge and take a decent bit of damage in slot 1. Vegito obviously has the damage reduction to back him up a little bit. Even if God Goku gets a triple super on the first turn, he's not doing anywhere near the damage that Vegito is doing. And then, yeah, when it comes to Rosé, like, he's not doing anywhere near the damage that Vegito is doing. And then after he supers, he's able to tank supers really well. But in slot 1, even with that 60% damage reduction, like, you put him in slot 1 against an STR unit, let's say the STR Omega from phase 2, he's still taking like 250 to 300k from a super. Whereas the Vegito, when it comes to global, we'd have to be talking about in terms of type disadvantage, it'd be turn 1 against Omega, and he can tank that super in slot 1. Annoyingly, it means he will get stunned or sealed, which Omega is pretty annoying for that. But yeah, very, very good. I still think he's number 1. If you want to argue that he's lower or shouldn't be on the list at all, that's obviously up to you. I don't know who you guys would put at number 1. You let me know. But regardless of whether you would consider Limit Breaker Vegito, I feel like the list below him for the top couple of units for me goes God Goku, Rosé, 23rd World Tournament Goku, and then Piccolo, and then 21, at least for like the top 5. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If we take a look here, get the zoomed out version, there you go. So going in reverse order, we have 10, or, you know, honorable mention or in contention for 10. Tournament of Power Androids, Kale, and Path to Power Kid Goku. Number 9 is Int Yamcha, 8 is Gamma 1, 7 is Super Saiyan 3 Rosé, 6 is Android 21, 5 is Piccolo Jr., 4, 23rd World Tournament Goku, 3, Dokkan Fest Rosé, 2, God Goku, and 1, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. As I said, if you guys disagree, if you would move some of these units around, that's all good. Let me know how you would do it. Let me know your personal lists down below. If you disagree with any of these placements, or you think any of them are particularly crazy, do let me know why, so we can have an interesting discussion in the comments. But yeah, that's the list as I see it now on global. It's going to change in the next couple of months, definitely, but that's how it is now, at least according to me. Let me know what you guys think down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.